What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. Today, I have a very special guest, a fellow creator, fellow music lover, musician, rapper. Mr. A.k.aye is in the building. Welcome to the show, A.k.aye.
What's good, 34? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. Just trying to get through the week. I work Sundays to Thursdays, so it's my Tuesday. And yeah, so it's just the beginning of the week for me, man. But yeah, what's it called? Just want to thank you again for coming on, and thank you for the opportunity to get to know you better. Definitely appreciate it, man.
Definitely.
For those who are unfamiliar with the flow of the show, we do a few intro questions to set the tone. Excuse me. And then we have a little spelling bee. Icebreaker. It's just one word, and feel free to participate, feel free to say no as well. It's all up to you. And then we jump into the main meat of the questions, where you choose a number between 1 and 34, and we roll with the conversation like that, and it all ends with a few concluding questions. Sound good to you, man?
Oh, it sounds good, man.
Alrighty then. So my first question for you, man, is how have you been? It's been a while since we've last connected. You doing well? You going through it? How you been, man?
Man, definitely going through it. Been good after a long while, but man, I'm still trying to get my body used to the whole fact that I lost an hour of sleep. I just been waking up heck late. I'd be looking and I'm like, oh man, I missed my Zoom call for work. Great. So I've been slacking big time, and
No
I'm just holding myself accountable for that, really.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I mean, if we ain't made it, we still going through it. That's how I be feeling. For sure. My second question for you is, what would you like your descendants to know about you? I think about this in a way of if I was going to speak to somebody 5 generations down the road. For me, I'm in the midst of trying to figure out who I am and what I'm all about. I'd be thinking about what my ancestors were like, and if there was anything if they're anything like me, if there was any kind of connection we had. But in that sense, what would you like your descendants to know about you?
Either that sense of individualism, sense of community, or why they kind of have a sense of why they might have a itch to just be creative and just express themselves the way either nobody else does, or just really it's just man, their point of views are unique or whatever. That's what I'm kind of I don't know, I'm just hoping they carry those kind of traits from me personally.
No doubt. When did you, can you remember the first thing you ever created? It doesn't have to be through music or anything. It could be yeah.
Me, I actually used to draw a lot when I was a kid, and so I would just draw I liked Power Rangers when I was super young, kindergarten and all that. That's all I would ever really draw is superheroes and just them fighting bad guys. So it'd be a part of that, or wanting to be a superhero and be yeah, this is the superhero I created,
Oh,
and
yeah.
there was I think a brief period of time where I'm not the best at illustrating. I don't have that hand-to-hand detail, but I would just draw it just for the heck of it, just to kill boredom really, and just be this is what this is basically what I'm into. And it carried on to at least, instead of just paying attention in class, I would just usually draw, man. And that's really my first sense of creativity was just constantly drawing and everything.
I got you. You cut out a little bit, but I think it's fine. But yeah. Shoot, man, I was never a good drawer. I used to to trace, though. I traced a lot of pictures and stuff, just to make me feel I had some kind of ability. But so nowadays I just got an iPad, so I can trace different stuff and make me feel I can draw. But,
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, technology kind of caught up.
Yeah, man. Makes us feel like we could be like the modern day Mozart or whatever, or even the modern day Mozart. That's like music, but no, like I'm thinking like, man, I could be like Andy Warhol with like graphic designs and stuff, you know. So
Yeah,
that's how I look at it.
I feel it. I feel it. My third question for you is, how would you like to be honored? If I was gonna be like, today I'm gonna honor A.k.aye, how would you want me to do that?
I guess my level of genius of creativity, if that makes sense. Like, I think just mostly I'm not like the most academically book smart type of person. I could write my ass off on an essay, but I'm like no genius at math. But when it comes to creativity, I feel like definitely like I can go above and beyond with what I create, especially as an artist and everything too. Like just to be remembered for like that sense of genius of like creativity, like in time if it doesn't catch on, but it's like, okay, this guy's onto something. Like I see what he's doing, and it's like, dang, nobody else is doing it. That's the main thing,
Yeah, yeah. Can you? How would you describe that? Like that creative, I guess. How I say it? Like that creative boom in your head. Like I feel like in my mind when things happen like that for me, it kind of like there's a big bang, and then all these things just start, coming up in my head. How's it like for you?
A little bit of the same, but like what I want to add on is just like it comes from instinct, really, because it comes to like making a beat and I'm on Fruity Loops creating something even from scratch, if it's not like something that's a sample or whatever I find from like online, I'll strike notes, I'll find what works with it, and it's just like I'm not somebody that can read notes or like I'm like, oh, this is gonna be the E chord or the F chord or D chord, but really it's just like, all right, this sounds good with this. This is like possibly 5 notes, but I wouldn't be able to play it on piano and playing along with musicians since I'm not classically trained like that. But it's just like I like the sense of like giving it like that jazz, like that improvised kind of feel, and it's just like my best judgment, because I feel like I know for sure I have a really good ear for production, and I always like I always know what sounds good, and that's like what I usually go by, is just that instinct of, man, if this sounds dope, then I'm going with it. I don't care if it's like, oh yeah, this is this note and that note. Nah, I couldn't name it to save my life, but
yeah.
yeah.
Now I feel you, man. Is there any particular artist as far as music goes where you kind of like heard an early project or like one of their first songs and you're like, yo, this is gonna be big,
Ooh. Like we talking like I probably would think like there's like either like artists that are instrumental. Like I used to mess with Flying Lotus before he like really blew up, and he was like getting introduced through Adult Swim. He was like one of those artists. Even like maybe like Kendrick when he when he still had like Overly Dedicated and what's that other album, Section 80, and then he became that Grammy Award winning artist he is now. Like those are like 2 inspirations in like recent memory that like I was like, they're not at the level that they want to be, but they will be, because it's just like there's something great about like where they're taking their music in that direction, and I'm like, dang, I want to be on that level at some point,
No doubt. You just made me think about like, I don't know if there is a system, maybe you could enlighten me if you know of it, but you know how like there's stocks and whatnot, right? Yeah. I wonder how we can put stocks into artists, in a way where like we're supporting them in the beginning so they can like reach up a plateau. I guess that's the same as like buying their album or buying their merch. But just so like money runs the world type shit, just where there's like some kind of I guess, yeah, whatever. I think that's Kickstarter. I'm describing Kickstarter now, but
yeah. But no, there's like I know like I've met like somebody that was like working out of Japan. This one black dude by the name of his name was Sonny B.
Sonny B.
He was this like he's like this one black dude that was like homies with a good amount of friends that I used to run with called Nameless Collective. And he was like self-made. He went to school out in SoCal, and he ended up going to Japan. And he was breaking down how Japan breaks down their whole like artist culture business-wise, and they seem pretty on point with it because they for out here like in the like in the States, out in Cali, like on an independent level, we'd be like, oh yeah, let's collab, and we just make a track and that's it. Over there they're like, oh, like how much are you gonna pay me to like get on a verse or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, it's like that. But the thing is, it's just out of respect. It's a part of the culture where everybody gets compensated just because everybody got to eat. So that makes a lot of sense. That's cool. Even if it's like, I'll throw you like this much, I'll throw you like at least like the equivalent of a dub sack, just to like just to make sure that you're gonna eat good. If you could just throw me a verse, that'd be cool. That would be definitely cool. Even like looking for models, or even just like I know for me, like I would like to like, I've been wanting to like revive like the culture of b-boys or even turfers, since like I make those kind of jams, and just get them in music videos and compensate them some way somehow. One where I'm not breaking bank, but if I did have that kind of money, by all means I would do it. But yeah.
no, I feel you, man. I mean, when it comes to collaboration, sometimes it's hard to reach up, and you almost gotta kind of like reach to the side and reach out to the side and feel like it's a growing opportunity, like we're growing together when we collaborate. No, I feel you. I think and it's also a tough part. Like, I think the hardest part about collaboration is the timing. I feel like there's always people interested, and people always want to, but it's hard to like, actually find the time to do it together. And yeah, I mean, that's just from my experience of reaching out and trying to collaborate with people. And I apologize to anybody out there that I, may not have, called back or whatever, because I was going through whatever. But yeah, that's how it is for me. My fourth question for you, man, is how well do you know yourself? And if it's hard to put into words, you could do a scale from 1 to 10.
I would say 200, but if I could be like completely transparent, because the one thing I could say about myself is I guess it's a part of like my astrology sign, which is like the most lamiest excuse according to some people, but I'll say it because like as an Aquarius, I'm very unpredictable. I could switch off at any moment, but I think that has everything to do with me just being just an overall creative and just going with what I feel, like just like how I express myself and everything is just like just how I feel internally, you know what I mean? Yeah,
no doubt, for sure. So now we've reached the icebreaker portion, the little spelling bee. We got are you down to participate? If you're not, it's all good. But
I ain't tripping.
All right, man. So let me know if you've seen the word in previous episodes, and if you haven't, it's all good. But the word is liaison.
Liaison. Okay. So Liason.
You got one more chance, man. It's a hard one, man. Well, you're just missing one letter.
Oh wait. Liaison.
Yeah, you got it, man.
That's why I was like, one letter. Okay, I know what it is.
Yeah. I think only 3 or 4 people have gotten it right this whole time I've been doing the podcast. So, congrats.
That's great. Oh man.
I will be inviting you back to a spelling bee episode sometime down the road. So,
okay, I'm down with that.
Yeah. We'll figure it out for sure. All right, man. So now we're jumping into the main meat of the interview, where you start choosing numbers between 1 and 34. Go for it.
1 and 34. Man, I will go with 13 right off the bat.
13 off the bat.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember what all the questions were, but that's the whole fun of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't expect anyone to like know all the questions. It's just it's just so for people who feel a little anxious about it, they can check it out and be like, okay, this is what the conversation's about. But yeah, man, this one is, whose opinion do you value the most?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a good one. In regards to like just anything in life.
It could be anything. You could be a little more specific. You know, sometimes like for me, I would feel like, you know, oh, I value my homie's opinion on my music, you know, like, because I think he has a good ear for it. Or, you know, I would value my parents' opinion about like, you know, my job or whatever, you know. So it really depends. I understand that it can be too general, but if you could be specific if you like to be.
I know for sure when it comes to video games, my best friend Jonathan, because he knows what kind of games I like, which are like RPG games, and somewhat of like these like real-time like strategy like RPGs, like the new Final Fantasy games. Yeah. Music, I would say, I'd say like my friend Brian. He comes up with he's been putting me onto a few good folks like I've actually been bumping a lot of Larry June because of him.
Dude, yeah, Larry June,
and
man.
Rex Life Raj. So he's been one of those. Him and my friend Jay. Jay put me onto this one dude named Rumor, and yeah, he's pretty dope. He's this kid from Atlanta. He kind of like merges country with rap, and it's just like some trap sounding lyrics, but with like a country kind of twang to it, which is pretty crazy.
I'm gonna check that out.
It's different, yeah. And it's RMR, man. It's yeah. He's unique, man. But like in regards to politics, I think like where I would lean towards is like a lot of resources from Anonymous. So yeah, just because it's like if I'm very unsure about certain things, it's like I look at it like this: you get a call from just a very strange number, and they kind of have this platform where they say, oh, we're from Amazon and your package is here, but you just have to pay this certain amount. I will look that up and do my research to see if they're following any kind of template, if they're a spam. That's kind of the same format of how I am about certain political stances when it comes to at least what kind of aligns with me in particular. But I'm just like, all right, these guys like kind of look at it at a standpoint where it's like, what is their agenda really? And that's why I'm kind of like, all right, this is how I do my research, and then if I want to dwell deeper, then cool. But usually like I go by that opinion.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, you made me think about the question a whole different way. Like, I wonder, yeah, as far as like, you know, what, I wonder what, I guess when it comes to music, I still go to my homies as far as like, you know, what they would recommend and stuff. You had mentioned Larry June, definitely somebody I slept on for the longest. I think 3-4 years ago, he had a meet and greet at the Hat Club in Seremani. I know you know that place, and he he was there selling a like custom hat that had LJ in the SF letters. But I was like, who the fuck's Larry June?
Homegirl Nika, that was the manager over there. Yeah,
shout out to Nika. She's gonna come on the pod eventually, hopefully.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
What about her sister Trina?
Oh, I don't know Trina.
Trina, she's a dope spoken word artist. She used to do open mics like back in the day, and shout outs to her as well. Yeah.
All right, for sure.
Cool folks. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to ask her about that, and maybe I can you know, expand the network that way. But
definitely.
Yeah, man, for sure. But yeah, shout out to Larry June. I know he's holding it down for like the Bay Area too. Like just being that new sound. His stuff is funky, man. Like I was very surprised to like, you know, listen to him like, oh shit, this is what's happening. This is what's happening right now.
Yeah. It's funny because me and my lady actually went to that Honey Bear boba spot. We do a lot of bobas. I didn't even know that was his joint until like my friend brought it up and was like, yeah, that's his joint. I was like, no, I didn't know who the heck he was, and I didn't even know he was the owner of that place. But I was like, okay, shoot, I'm with it, man. You know,
that deserves a golf clap for sure, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, no doubt. For sure, man. Go ahead and throw me another number.
Let's do Jordan 23.
23.
Yeah.
What keeps you grounded? You know, like what keeps you in reality whenever you start? Like I know for me, sometimes I daydream and I start, thinking of all the possibilities. It could happen. But what helps keep you grounded?
Many things. Like one, just having that foundation. Like for me, like even though I've kind of fell off it a bit, is like just like my like Islamic faith. And
yeah.
Like certain practices like zikir, which is remembrance of God. It's like some way of like lowering your ego and just like remembering that there's a higher power. And sometimes if you just feel higher and mighty, or if you feel like someone inadequate, just remember that like sometimes it's just not your calling, and it's something that God or Allah doesn't even intend for you. That's one part of it. Even like what's called the principle of intention, which is, if I were to give you $1 and it's because you needed help and I spot you, I wouldn't expect anything in return. It was just to help you out. You know what I mean? Just to have that kind of mentality is just like kind of what just kind of gives me that kind of discipline, just to like be like, one, just not expect too much from people. And it also like because you never know how certain people are, like especially when they ask for like favors and all that. They constantly they're constantly skeptical, and I understand where people are coming from. For me, it's just like, if I help a brother, help a sister, it's out of good health, or if I feel strongly about certain things, it's because of the intention of wanting to do better for your like community, for humanity. I don't expect clout. I don't expect any of that. I'm just, I just like feel like there's enough animosity in the world, and to push forward just to like make the world a better place is like, I think like something that suffices in my opinion.
Yeah, man, no doubt. I mean, it's good that you have those foundations, it sounds like, or just from your experience, those are the things that just keep bringing you back. And it's good to have that. Not everybody does. Yeah. But yeah, throw me another number, man.
7.
What does self-love mean to you, or how would you define self-love?
Self-love in a very deep, profound sense is a balance between selflessness and selfishness. It's one where you do not have too much pride in yourself, but it also means that if you just give in way too much to other people, and sometimes you don't have a really sense of that, you just burn yourself out, and you're just like, man, like I'm doing all these things for all these people, but it's like I'm, like feeling burnt out. Sometimes you just gotta, it's like a mental health kind of thing where you just kind of have to take that break and just work on yourself, and that's normal. That's really what makes us human, but it's kind of like that balance between both of those two things.
For sure. If you don't mind me asking, how are some ways that you've been selfless?
I mean, like for me in particular, I was working actually during the summer, because during the school I work in the school system, like in the elementary school system, and sometimes during the summer I'll just work like different miscellaneous odd jobs. The miscellaneous odd job for this year in particular was working with homeless at one of those hotels. I can't say which one.
No worries. Yeah.
But this particular unit involved like working with mental health clients. And so since like I'm like at least well versed in psychology and being able to handle people with a lot of patience, my thing was at least like having them like, especially like they always just need somebody to talk to, and I'm always like an open ear, just hearing them out, just letting them vent and let them confide in me. And like for me, I listened like wholeheartedly, and I just made them heard, because sometimes they don't, you know, like especially people in that kind of place, they don't really have a voice, you know. But just to have them be heard just kind of just like helps them like kind of like just really like think clearly on what's like going on and everything, and just like, you know, I hear you, man. It's just like
Yeah.
whatever you're doing to keep yourself alive, keep at it, you know. That's really what I can do. But, you know, shoot, aside from that, I was just providing like food and everything like that the nonprofit I was working for was doing. So, you know, I always like doing those kind of line of work. And then, you know, even like now working with kids, and I've been doing it for over like a decade, like maybe 12 years.
Word.
Or actually 11. Yeah, no, I've been working for a while, like with the school system that I'm at, and being able to provide kids with at least like a guidance of like how to deal with kids on a day-to-day basis. If they're like giving them like issues and everything, I lay it out for them, like how they are, how people are, and just like, you know, this is how you could deal with them. If they give you problems, then bring them my way and I'll set them straight, you know.
That's what's up,
So
man.
those are like really like the line of work that I like doing, you know. So
For sure. I mean, oh, go ahead. You gonna say something?
oh no. Yeah.
I was just gonna mention, I'd work maybe like there's a couple of instances in my life when I worked with kids, and I remember like even the kids that, you know, were considered the bad kids, right? Like kids who got in trouble. And I think you had hit it on the point as far as like, you know, working with the at your summer job, and even I'm sure you've had to do it working with kids too, but like whenever they got in a fight or when I saw a fight starting up, my instinct was just to like I would stand right next to them, you know, like if there's two kids about to like throw punches, I'm standing right. I know that's against protocol, like I know it's a liability, you're not supposed to do that, but I would get in with them and just tell them like, yo, you're not alone. Like everyone's here is watching, and I'm here with you. Like, you know, because I think that's what happens in their minds. It's like, okay, it's just like, this is what I'm gonna do right now, and like, I don't give a fuck, you know. But I think stepping in and kind of reminding them that, like, you know, someone else is here with you, it kind of calms them down a little bit, or makes them kind of feel like, okay, maybe this isn't the time and place to do this, right? Like,
Definitely.
I just found it to be effective. And like, you know, the kids never took it in a bad way, you know. They always kind of were like, you know, thanks for doing that type shit. But yeah, that was that was something where I was like, oh man, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but this is the only way I know how to like de-escalate this thing, you know, before they get into real trouble. But yeah, man, that's cool that you've been working with kids. That's something I wish I had actually stuck to, but for whatever reason I kept it moving. But you ever get that you ever had any instances where you saw yourself in one of the kids, like, you know, what they were doing as far as like, oh man, that kid was kind of like me when I was a kid, you know?
Oh no, like all the time. Like there's certain instances like with like kids where it kind of reminds me of youth, you know, maybe like in their own way, but like, you know, especially since they're like a new generation of kids, like, oh man, when I was in your day, like it makes me kind of like have those kind of like sentiments like of like nostalgia, where I was like, oh yeah, like cartoons when I was in your day, like we watched like the basic channels and stuff, and we had Saturday morning cartoons. But yeah,
are there still Saturday morning cartoons? Kids still watching those?
I think it's just YouTube. Yeah, it's just YouTube.
You're
and
right.
Like cable's kind of a thing, but not really.
Yeah. It's changed, man. It's changed for them for sure. But they had some classics on those Saturday morning cartoons, man.
Yeah, of course.
What was one of your favorites besides Power Rangers?
Spider-Man. Like I'm a huge Marvel fan, so I like Spider-Man and X-Men a lot. And then even aside from that, man, like Eek the Cat.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one.
Any of the other ones I think of, man, there's like a whole bunch. Bobby's World was another one.
Bobby's World, yep. I mean,
and you had the Nickelodeon cartoons. Like I was watching Hey Arnold not too long ago, and just kind of like watching it now, dude. I was kind of tearing up at certain points. Like there was the one with that one episode where it was a Christmas, and Arnold got Mr. Wynn as the as the
Secret Santa.
the strangle, yeah, the Secret Santa.
Yeah.
He was trying to figure out what he wanted, and all he just wanted to do was like see his daughter that he like was like looking for. And it took him 10 years to get into the country, and every Christmas he was just very sad because he couldn't find her anywhere. And you know, that moment when he found his daughter towards the end, I just started kind of bursting in tears because of how sentimental those kind of things are. Because it's like, you know, family's like important. So I'm like, man, it struck a nerve with me, man. Like just to see something like that.
Yeah, dog. Hey Arnold's definitely. It's up there. Like, I don't know. I've watched a lot of TV growing up, so out of all shows, but Hey Arnold's definitely up there. I had rewatched the series when I was in college, and every now and then I'll look up an episode or whatnot. But I do remember that episode vividly, and I also give them props because it was the first time where I saw a kid go to a therapist when Helga went to her therapist. I don't know if you ever remember that episode, but I'm like,
I think I do.
Just having that example, right? Like, there's not too many like examples of kids going to therapy, right? But then like, Hey Arnold kind of introduced that and was saying like, you know, it's okay. Like, you know, kids do this. So
it doesn't make them crazy or anything, you know?
Exactly. Because I went to therapy when I was in elementary and in high school, and I think. Yeah, and I think, you know, I mean, I can't say for sure, but I felt like it was kind of normalized for me because I had seen it on TV, on a cartoon that I loved. So, yeah, so props to them for doing that for sure.
Oh, definitely.
And on the flip side of the question, I had asked about how you are selfless. How are you sometimes selfish, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, man. I know for me, like, I kind of identify as an introvert, which is like, you can't consider yourself that. You're an artist. You can't be introverted. But it's like, there's certain times I just shut down and I just want to just like either go home, stay home, watch movies or some kind of show, or just play video games, man, or just work on music. You know, sometimes I just need to have that kind of thing where I could just think to myself. And sometimes, like, I have friends that are probably in need. I feel bad if like I don't have the energy to hang out with them, because it's like I don't mean to like flake on them or like not explain anything, but you know, it'd be like that sometimes. Or even like for some friends that expect me to spot them on food, I'm just like, dude, I'm like, I pay bills like just like you, man, but you got to be better with your money, you know. So
I got you. Yeah, like you said, man, it's a balance. And yeah, I haven't heard it put it that way before, about self-love being the balance between selflessness and selfishness. And but I think you hit it right on the head.
Man, appreciate it.
Dude, I mean, honestly, I think I've been selfish more so the past 10 years than I've ever been in my life, and even maybe even prior to that, because you know, sometimes when I guess when you think you have mental issues or like are going through it, it could also be because you're thinking about yourself all the time. But you know, I don't think that's the case for everybody. Just personally for me, that's how it kind of felt. And yeah, I mean, I'm trying to balance it out with, you know, doing stuff like this, trying to reach out to people, trying to have good conversations with them, and you know, hopefully, you know, I can give something back. This is my way of giving back. So but yeah, so choose another number, bro.
Let's see, let's go with 33.
33. Let's see. This one's a little deep, so let me know if it is something you want to pass. But when's the last time you felt defeated?
Man, I lost count on that, to be honest with you. It's just like whenever I could just at least like paint a picture of like, in particular, it's like when I'm in a group of people, and sometimes I just tend to just draw myself away, and it's just the energy around those people is just very draining, and I can't really like even pitch my 2 cents in, or just feel like, you know, like my opinions are valued or whatever, just because of whatever environment it may be. And just in that sense, I just feel like, man, if I can't get my point across, I'm gonna like implode, you know what I mean? And that's, I think, the worst form. I think that's just more worse than like losing at Call of Duty. and just getting killed, and you get like a really bad kill death ratio. That's like just having that kind of feeling is just worse than that kind of feeling that I just mentioned. So I'm like, yeah, man, I don't want to be in a place where like if I can't get a word in or have a deep conversation with people, I might forget it, you know. I mean,
yeah, so, man. Yeah, I mean, that is a definitely interesting thing that you bring up, because I don't know how many people feel that. I think a lot of people feel that way, you know, where you remember Pinky and the Brain?
Oh, of course.
You seen the new Animaniacs? I've
seen a good amount of it, and man, it's like really pertaining to like folks our age, just because of how deep it is, like whether it's politics or even just whatever topics. And you're like, was it like this back when we were kids, or was it just
yeah, dude.
These, like, these three siblings just really acting a fool, and one of them kind of being thirsty towards that one nurse, you know what I mean? Or was there something deeper behind that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I bring it up because there's one particular line in the newer Pinky and the Brain where I might be butchering it, but I'm gonna paraphrase it. Basically, Pinky was asking Brain, like, or either one, they were asking like, oh, why are we still friends or whatever? And then I think it was Pinky, and he was like, I think it's because, you know, I allow you to do like your negative stuff. Like I'm an enabler to your motives or whatever. And I was like, cool, man, dude. But like, I think a lot of people kind of maybe be in those friendships, you know, where like you have a person who maybe is not doing something that everybody likes, but because, you know, they're your friends, it's like, you know, that's just them. We'll let them do them. But it can also like just, if it's not addressed, if it's not talked about, then it could be detrimental to the friendship. Because, you know, I want to see how that episode ended. Actually, I remember I saw that and I was like, oh shit, and I don't think I even got to check it out too. Yeah, because I want to see like if there was a line that kind of like went back to it and kind of like, you know, close it, like, oh no, we're friends because of this, not because of what I said earlier. But it was a trip. It was a trip to have that in a cartoon. Like, oh yeah, I enable you. That's why we're friends. I'm like, oh shit.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it was definitely a trip when I heard it. But go ahead, man. Throw me another number.
Let's go with 3.
3. What is your unpopular opinion? Something that you always seem to get like a little pushback from, and people are always like, oh man, like, you think that way? If you don't mind me asking. I know this is also another deeper question, but I'm all about open-mindedness. I'm not going to do that to you, but yeah.
I know for me, like, I just wonder what all the hype is about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because it's like, some people see her as a pretty face, but why do people really value her? You know what I mean? And it's like, I just want to know, like, what kind of benefits she does, like, in regards to, I mean, like, I actually just read that she was, like, somebody that came from a working family. And, you know, she probably comes from the same point of view of where, you know, our families come from, like, coming from, like, she's second generation, like, just like any of us. And it's just like, she grew up from poverty as well. So I'm like, okay, you know what? That's cool. You know, I could totally relate to that. And so to have some politician like that, and like to have some politician like that is like cool, you know, but it's just like, some people see her as a pretty face and all that. And I'm like, nah, dude, I'm tired of all these like politicians that are getting shine, you know? So I'm like, nah, if it's that kind of politics, I ain't with it, you know? Or even like, I think another one for me is just like, I'm not a big fan of the Recall Gavin Newsom campaign.
For sure.
Compared to like other people, yeah. Because he's just like us. He's just human. I bet all of us were caught slipping at some point. And, you know, yeah, he was asking some of us to not hang out with our family members like during the holidays. And what do? He was in a party, you know. It's like, okay, whatever. I bet some of you guys were doing it anyway. So I'm saying, like, I'm not gonna hold anybody accountable or call anybody a Boy Scout because, man, it's hard times, man. So sometimes we got to be around family, and I'm not gonna judge people because of that, you know.
Yeah.
Because I know if I were to say something like, oh, like I'm anti-cancel culture, there's a lot of people that are. It's surprising.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, cancel culture is a whole nother thing. But I didn't want to mention, like, you brought up two things. AOC, right? AOC. Yeah. I have some homies who like really follow into the politics stuff. So that's where I get my information, because I can't really trust the media. I have homies that do the digging for me and kind of like give it to me in a way that I can understand it. And I still might be getting it wrong, so my bad if they're hearing this. But the way I would relate the AOC thing that's happening is that, like, I don't know which way she's gonna go with it, to be honest. But I think she did have those humble beginnings. The time when she was just grinding, she had the idea of like making change and, you know, doing it the right way, outreaching, being for the people and all that. I think she's at a stage in her political career where the industry, like if I was gonna make it comparable, the government, the industry sees her potential, and it's like, oh, we need, if she's gonna have this kind of following, if she's gonna have this kind of influence, we need to bring her into our team. And definitely. So that's what I think is kind of happening. And, you know, I can't really fault her for taking that path, because that's really, if she wants to be in politics, that's what she's going to have to do. She's going to have to find a team that's going to support her, give her the resources, and just be like, oh, you're going to be our next person. We're going to show the world and be like, you know, you're the leader. And if that's what she wants, then she may have to go down that path. But I also think that she, because of the humble beginnings, if she can still, you know, feel close to her roots, then maybe she can, like, you know, kind of stay true to that and change the system in a different way. So that's my stance on AOC. Yeah, I think they're just they're choosing her to be the next person that they kind of boost up. And then for recalling Gavin Newsom, you know, I wish I knew more about like everything he's done before the pandemic too, because I'd have to really think about, like, overall has his run been, you know, has it been like so bad? But I mean, you know, like, yeah, he's our California leader, you know, and I guess people were expecting more leadership, but, you know, like, even with I would relate it to, like, you know, the quarterback of a football team. You know, if once the pressure arrives, once it's the fourth quarter, like, that's how you really know how they're gonna react.
Especially if it's like crunch time. If it's a Super Bowl, they could pull a Kaepernick on us and just not work well, you know, rush everything, you know. Yeah,
man. And I mean, I think it's not just Newsom's thing. You know, he has a team behind him. He has people who are in his ear, and, you know, whatever influences or whatever the agenda is for them, then they're gonna push that too. But, you know, that's why politics is so messy, man. I don't think we have one person that they talk about, but it's really a whole bunch of people that are kind of running things, you know. But yeah,
as it should, because if it's just one person, it's just gonna be a huge mess, you know.
Yeah,
I think just like it kind of runs off what democracy is. It's like it's run by, you know, like run by the people, you know, and we just happen to appoint people that are like just helping us run this country a little bit better, or like trying to at least do some.
I think that's what, I mean, I don't know, but I think that's what, like, the founding people and anybody who starts a democracy, you kind of hope it stays pure, but then you're always going to have those people who want to take advantage. And once they find a system that works to keep the advantage, they're going to do that thing for as long as they can. So yeah, I really don't know what the answer is. I'm not well versed in politics, and it's just it's messy, but I don't think it's impossible. It's just there has to be another way. That's just how I feel about it. But yeah, man. And then Cancel culture is
Yeah.
they're just extremes, man. They're just extremes of something where, like, you know, you want to hold people accountable, but then you also, like, you just want to, you know, put someone, like, push someone so down that they're irrelevant, you know. And I guess, you know, it's easy to see among celebrities because, you know, they have relevancy and then they just disappear, or, like, you know, they have that. But I don't know if you've ever had cancel culture affect people, like the lower people, or, like, you know, people who aren't known about, you know, like if you knew anybody that kind of, like, had their name kind of dragged because they did something. And that's the thing, like, if you did some horrible shit.
I've heard some instances of that, and it's a trip because, like, they're homies and I stand by them. And really, it's just, my thing about it is just, like, you know, when it came to stuff like Me Too and all that, it's just, all it is just them trying to ruin somebody's reputation for their own benefit. And that's one of my biggest concerns is, does it really, like, stick out for, like, those oppressed groups, or is it, like, people trying to use it for their own agenda? And that's where I, like, draw the line, and that's where my suspicions are raised, is because there's a lot of people that use politics, those kind of direct forms of action, just to benefit themselves and just not the movement. And I'm just like, you know, this is really what we've come out to. Then, you know, it's just like, kind of like, it's sad that it's coming to that, and just makes, like, things that are supposed to be a beauty, like, just turn ugly. And it's just like, man, you know, we need to do, like, better than what we're really going for, you know. So I'm for certain things, but, like, to an extent, like, it's just like, you know, does this really benefit our community? Does this benefit our society, or is it hurting, like, those groups and just trying to hurt the movement, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the Me Too movement is definitely something where I think cancel culture kind of pushed into the extreme, right? Like, if I had an opinion on it, it would be kind of like, I wish I wouldn't hear about the news until it was, like, already had gone through trials and everything. Like, if you're gonna tell me, like, so and so was accused, and I'm like, okay, but that just makes me feel like, oh, they've been like that, and that's a for sure thing. But if you told me somebody was, you know, convicted or whatever, then I'm like, oh shit, that's for real. And, like, you know, it's a different thing. But now I can get accused. Anybody can get accused, right? Like, and it's not just men getting accused, women get accused, you know, like, it could be anybody. So that's a trip to me, honestly. And hopefully, I think, like you said, there's also the side of people who are like, wait a second, we're kind of doing this a little too much, and we're kind of like, you know, doing all these things that might not be the positive. Like, I know the intention was good, but now it's getting a little bit, you know, crazy, and we need to find a way to balance it. But man. That was good, man. That was a good conversation. Thanks for thank you for your insight and bringing it up. And just a heads up, we have about like 10 minutes left in the podcast, and I think we can knock out another question. Go for it. Throw me another number.
Let's see. I haven't gone in. I'd probably go with let's do 34. 34.
All right, man.
Yeah.
So this one is a fill in the blank, but life is all about blank.
That is definitely like a trippy one. Life is all about, I think if I could really sum it, what makes you happy, or doing what makes you happy, because in the reality of things, it's like you can't really depend on other people to really like even though like you're in a relationship with like your significant other, they bring you so much joy, but also that joy has to come from within yourself as well, and just like being able to like do what you want out of life. Or you know what, actually you seen that movie Soul?
Yeah, I saw that movie Soul.
Yeah, I'm watching some of those theories on at least life's purpose and stuff. And sometimes it's not even really about like when he's at the barber shop and he's talking with his barber, and Tina Fey's character is also like, you know, like in his body and just starting that conversation that he normally wouldn't do himself. And he was just talking, he was like asking about like the barber's life, and it was a trip because the barber said, originally I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I had a daughter. I started going to barber college because it was affordable, started cutting hair, and I'm like happy. And then I guess like the dude as the cat was like, really? You know, like he was just surprised that he even like knew this about him, because usually whenever they're talking, he would get cut. All they would ever talk about is jazz music, and that's it. And you know, it's cool, but it's also one-dimensional. But being able to get to know somebody on that kind of level and get to know like that perspective kind of like gains like this kind of insight. And sometimes that's really like what living life is, man. Like getting to know each other, getting to like really just like make a connection with people, because you know, we could talk about things, like we could talk about music, but you know, like there's deeper things than music. Sometimes we can even break down how we feel about the music, and maybe it gains us like a better understanding of where we're all coming from, like why it affects us all mentally, you know, especially mental health. Even like during COVID times, and like seeing how like mental health has like really like reached a decline. And now like just like hoping that I even was able to like reach out to certain homies, because some of them are no longer with us for like those particular reasons, man. And you know, I just wish I could have had those conversations with them again, you know, because that's what I had known them for, and bam, you know. But there's just off tangent. But the main thing was just like that whole thing is just being happy, being able to connect with people, because those connections, and I'm not talking network just to gain clout or whatever, I'm talking about just like this genuine kind of like connection that we have with people to give us a sense of like camaraderie in the world, you know, like camaraderie over commodity, because camaraderie gives that sense of warmth. It gives us that sense of like at least security, because sometimes like there's like the sense like maybe like a point in life where like our judgments are clouded and we can't really like see past that cloud, that thickness, because we're lost in our thoughts, we're frustrated, you know what I mean? Kind of like that one scene in Soul where you see those people lost with their obsessions and their addictions, because they're really locked in that frustration. And that's the real part of it, man. I'm just like, yeah, man, like the key to it is just, yeah, you got your life purpose. Maybe you were born to make music, born to make podcasts, born to make like these kind of things. But the thing is, does it have meaning behind it, you know? And I guess that's what it was for Homeboy that was playing jazz. Because when he got into that gig, he was like, yo, like, what's next? You know, it's like, what is next? You know, are you happy doing it? You know, it's like being able to, like for me, like when it comes to music, being able to perform. And I think one of the most fulfilling parts was at least I came out of, you know, like this was when I was like 18. So this was like probably like 14 years ago, because I'm 32 now. I played some show like, and this was like prior to that, I came from like a mental institution for 5150. We were trying to hurt myself, and I shared that kind of vulnerability on stage and told them that playing this like brings so much joy and having you guys with me. But I think the real joy was being able to like have people like message me after the show. Like this is the funny part. This was like MySpace days, and they was like, yeah, you know, like I came from that same background too, and I could totally relate and everything. That's what like gave me like purpose as an artist, is just, yeah, I'm like creating music, having fun with it, but at the same time, if I'm able to make those connections with those kind of people, then I feel like as an artist, I feel like I've fulfilled my role in that position and used my platform in the right way. Other artists can do it either way, but that's just like the kind of rap that I decided to take and gives me like that joy, and why life is that kind of purpose. If I could go like full circle into that boomerang and bring it all back, is that's why I stand here today as AKA.
No doubt, man. Yo, thank you for sharing. I know that's this is a big part of your life, and I didn't expect it, but thank you so much. Yeah, man. We're heading into the concluding portion of the interview. Just wanted to say thank you again for coming on. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, I hope you had a lot of fun. Yeah. So my last couple questions for you is actually, this one is from my previous guest. I've been trying to find a way to connect my guests, and I asked the last one to ask the next one a question. And so Aaron, shout out Aaron, he wants to know, what are you doing to make an impact in someone's life you don't know?
If I could leave them with something to think about, if I was able to I don't even care about changing, manipulating people. I feel like the best route is just to motivate people to think not a certain way, but about like just certain things, or put it into perspective, and maybe relate to them, but just give them like some way to think about it. Is just, just life in general, like what kind of meaning I could give to them, or like what kind of insight can I give to them, and be like, damn, that I'm like motivated, and that's basically what I would go for.
For sure, man. I mean, I think you definitely have done it for me, so I appreciate that. And then, what would you like to ask the next guest?
Ooh, what keeps you going? Yeah.
What keeps you going? Typing it out right now. For sure. I like that. And my last question is, what is the greatest lesson you've learned thus far?
To appreciate everything. Well, of course, in the past, and also like in the future, even though like sometimes you don't see it yet, but mostly like ain't no time like the present. And sometimes, like people forget like what's in front of them, and just being able to like appreciate that time that people give you, that energy, really is just like something I value more than like money and currency, especially like people with really good energy that just kind of just it's like that joy is kind of infectious, and it brings me so much joy, you know what I mean? And that's like the kind of thing that I like. That's the kind of thing that I like appreciate.
No doubt, man. Same here, and I think you exude that energy, and I greatly appreciate it. Tell the people where they can find you, where they can find your music or reach out to you. So
all my handles, Twitter and Instagram, also known as A.k.aye. I'm on Spotify. I have the album Trillipino out, which is just like a mixed bag of boom bap and Bay Area slap type music, and just some really like, it's like different ranges, but it's like, like I like it, it's like so different, but it's like it kind of brings it back to some like really good music that I like appreciated from back in the day, and now it's like full fold into this album, and it covers like a lot of deep stuff, a lot of insightful things, and I enjoyed making the album so much that if you guys get a hold of the album, however it may be, you guys enjoy the album as much as I did creating it. So yeah. No doubt. And I'll try to put those links in the description and notes for all the folks out there. But yeah, man, thank you again. It's hard for me to figure out a good way to end out these podcasts. I'm still trying to figure out my signature. But